Yo, 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 what is up? What is up, everybody? Welcome to BDC Live. Shawn Dill here with you, just as I am each and every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Call all your friends. Let's get the crew loaded up. Tonight, we got a big night. We're giving away $300 right here on BDC Live. You know what to do. Make sure that you have subscribed to the feed. Make sure that you have liked this broadcast. Make sure that you share the broadcast. And tonight's episode being brought to you by the fine folks at Cairo Nutraceutical. Thanks so much to Cairo Thin and our producer, the Money Team. They call him P Money. P Money. Pat Kimball holding it down over there. What's up, Pat?
If I was any better, I'd be you.
Great to see you and know that you are putting in the hard work today over there, moving things in Westfield, and bounced over to hold it down here. We got any sound effects tonight?
Oh yeah, we got it going.
Heck yeah. All right, everybody, you know how this works. Make sure that you share the broadcast. We're giving away $300. Pat's going to be drawing 3 names. We had a winner last week for $500. So we're resetting the pot at $300, drawing 3 names. Last week we had a close call. We had to go to an official review. We had to go to the VR, and James Lewis was designated the New York referee. So we called into New York. James checked it out, and Paul Rakowitz, he was the winner of $500. Now I see him in here today. And listen, hey, you can win twice. Your name goes back in. So even though you won previously, you're not excluded. Your name is right back in. That would be pretty crazy if we had a back-to-back winner. But we got people pouring in. Great to see everybody. Make sure you're telling your friends that we're giving away $300. Now, if there's no winner, Pat's going to draw 3 names out of the canasta. If there's no winner, well, then we're going to up it to $400 next week. Lacey will be in covering next week. I'm going to be in Puerto Rico, but I will be back to hold it down after that into the rest of the year. So we're going to be rocking and rolling here on BDC Live. Super exciting to have you guys here. Today, we're talking about pre-qualification. And probably somewhere, get the names, or get the canasta. I don't know if you have the names, but get the canasta ready, Pat. And then I will probably jump in here in just a few minutes. I'm going to get the first name out of the way. Maybe I'll do 2 names, and then if we don't have a winner, maybe we'll just hold the last name till the end. Trying to keep these right around 30 minutes so that you guys can plan. I know that you guys got to eat dinner, got things to do. I haven't been able to eat all day. So I also got to go too. But hey, the pre-qualification is super, super, super important. What it does is a couple of things. We're living in a time where things are getting tight for people economically. And so you're seeing a lot of layoffs. You're seeing people, we've been talking about that previously on Money Mondays, but now that we're here on BDC Live, we have people that are having to make tough choices, relative to where they're going to spend their money. And listen, it doesn't matter what you do. BDC is for all types of service providers. This is something that is absolutely essential. In fact, it's part of our BDC sales ladder. We're going to be breaking that down and teaching that extensively coming up at BDC Sales Matters. Black Diamond Club is headed to Austin, Texas. If you don't have your tickets yet, well, what in the heck are you waiting for? This is going to be absolutely phenomenal. March 24th and 25th, Austin, Texas. At the Sheraton Austin Hotel at the Capitol, we're going to be breaking it down. We're going to be talking all things sales, including, of course, pre-qualification. So we're going to have a little wrap session about that today, and then we're going to break it down in depth. But you got to get your tickets to Sales Matters. We have just a few tickets left for everybody, so make sure that you jump on that. We are going to have some amazing, incredible special guests that are rocking in. We've got some great sponsors rolling in. I think that our sponsors spots are totally full, not positive. If you're interested in sponsorship on any of our programming, whether it's an event or it's a podcast, reach out to Twisty Tristan at blackdiamondclub.com. Make sure that you do that. Hey, and just for all of you watching, we got 61 of you on right now. So I'm going to be gone next week. Lacey's going to be holding it down. So I'm just going to like probably blow up. You guys are going to have the opportunity to rap with Lacey, and she's going to be talking about whatever the heck the boys in the office come up with as the topic. Not sure who's producing next week. It'll be amazing production. It's not going to be Pat though. That I'm pretty sure. But you guys will have fun. And then the week after that. So let's see. That's January 25th, Wednesday, January 25th. You might as well just set a reminder right now. Set a reminder because on Wednesday, January 25th, my business partner and great friend Michael Chandler is jumping on BDC Live. We're going to be here live with you with Michael Chandler. We're going to be breaking down his entrepreneur journey. So maybe we'll talk a little bit about what's coming up next, but I don't know if you guys have seen, he's launched a fitness app. He's doing all kinds of really cool things in the entrepreneurial space. He's also working with us on our Everbowl Nashville store. Super excited to have him jump on board as our partner there. So we're super excited about that launch. We're super excited about tons of things. You guys need to put that in your calendars. Don't be screwing around. Who cares? I mean, the pot could be at $500 by that time, but who cares? Because you guys are going to be spending time right here live with Michael Chandler. Don't miss it. All right. So why do we do the pre-qual? So because people are being conscious of their spending, things are getting a little tighter. We want to be also ourselves conscious of our time, and we don't want to waste time selling people who are not qualified. And even worse, maybe we sold them on the front end, but now we are looking to develop or deepen that sales or business relationship, and they're really not qualified to go even further. And so we want to introduce you to the pre-qualification. Now, this is not, I see a lot of our BDC members jumping in. I'm not going to start where you think I'm going to start. Here's the thing. Pre-qualification starts with something that's absolutely vital. You have heard this if you're a BDC member. You have heard this, but you might have forgotten it. The pre-qualification starts when somebody asks you or somebody on your team, hey, can you help with fill in the blank, right? Whatever it is. Hey, so I think that I broke my transmission. Transmission's all screwed up. Do you guys fix transmissions? Hey, I was thinking about changing up my hairstyle. I was wanting to go with frosted tips. Do you guys do frosted tips? Whatever it is that the entry point is. So people are going to pop in and be like, hey, I was wondering, can you guys help with this? And the first step of the pre-qualification is you are going to answer. And there's only one answer. And that answer is, why do you ask? Why do you ask? Hey, do you guys fix transmissions? Why do you ask? Well, because I'm having this issue in my car, which is very different than my father called me from Indiana. And he was telling me that he had an issue and he thought it was the transmission and I thought it was the radiator. And well, this isn't even a qualified person. We're talking about somebody who's in Indiana when your repair shop is in Naples, Florida. If I said, hey, do you guys do frosted tips? And you say, why do you ask? And I was like, well, because Pat's always talking about it. And I told him, don't do it. What do you think? Well, that's not even a sales opportunity. And so many of you are conditioned and trained to just go straight up into your sales pitch. And if the person wasn't even trying to be sold, well, that is a terrible thing because they're like, well, wait a minute. I was talking about Pat getting his frosted tips. So, and Lonnie is saying no to frosted tips. Well, for me, but what about for Pat? Pat might look good in frosted tips. You guys probably never seen Pat without a hat on. So I think most people haven't seen Pat without a hat though. You never know. So number one in pre-qualification is why do you ask? So make sure you even train. Some people might call your place of business and say, hey, so train on that where we find out first, is this even something that I want to enter into my sales script, my sales process with? We're not going to just jump right into that. Just as an aside, on this week's podcast in Black Diamond Club, which is one of the ones that I think was potentially one of our most valuable podcasts that we've dropped in many, many, many months. I mean, they're all valuable. Every Monday we put one out. But this week's podcast was very valuable. One of the things that we talked about, I believe it was 70% of all first encounters, 70% of all first encounters are not even in a buying situation. Well, there alone is why we want to pre-qualify. A lot of people, and I don't like to call them tire kickers because they're not kicking the tires. They haven't moved yet to that tipping point where they feel like they have a need and they see value in what you do. But if you have strong social presence and a strong personal brand, they're kind of just interested in what's happening. And this is oftentimes what would pique the question like, hey, so I've been following you. I love what you're doing. I was just wondering. And then they say something like, hey, do you think chiropractic could help people with hypertension? I think I've seen something about that, but I'm not really sure. Hey, do you think that? And then, fill in the blank. Do you think I should get massages every week? And then you don't know that they're saying, I want chiropractic, I want a massage, I need I need a new hairstylist. And so often you guys just bust into a sales process. And so knowing now, we have to slow our roll. I think that I would say to myself when somebody approaches me, hey, Shawn, I heard that you're helping people kill it. I heard about Quest 7, heard what you guys are doing, and I heard about Black Diamond Club, the network and community of support for service providers all around the world. And if I was like, yeah, dude, you should join, here's the link, www.blackdiamondclub, they might be like, yeah, because I wanted to tell my physical therapist about it. I wanted to tell my dentist about it. Hey, dude, I'm an author. Like, oh, right. Oh, so you have to always ask, why do you ask? Next reason why we pre-qualify is because it saves you time. So let's suppose that they said, well, I'm asking for myself because I have XYZ. I want to know, can you help me? So now we have consent. Now we're in a place where they're basically asking us, hey, let's move into the sales process, right? Literally, I talk about in sales, when we're teaching sales, we look for these buying cues where the prospect literally is asking you, can you close me? Now, before we move to closing them, that's not what today's conversation is about. Today's conversation is, before I even move to closing you, I know you're asking me to close you because you're asking me if I can help you. But before we do that, I want to talk about whether or not you're qualified to work with me. Now, in the past, people have said things like, well, I don't know if you're a candidate. I'm not talking about that. I just want to make sure that you're qualified. Now, I would encourage everybody to kind of pause and think to yourself, what makes someone qualified to work with me? What makes them qualified? I would say that there's a couple of things that would make a person qualified. One, they have a problem that you can solve. So we got to figure out, do they have a problem that I can solve? Number two, financial ability to pay me what I charge to solve that problem. And number three, this one applies to probably half of you, but number three is geographical proximity. Again, I run into this a lot with a lot of my clients where, because you've done so well, because you've made a name for yourself, and because of things like social media, you're transmitting a message across a broad base. So you may be operating out of Omaha, Nebraska, and you're receiving a phone call from somebody in Atlanta. Why? Because they're not sure how it works. And they're like, I've seen your content. I love you. I love your stuff. Hey, do you think you could help me? And sometimes, depending on what it is you do, that's not going to be possible because they don't have geographical proximity. Now, there could be a whole other list of things, Lonnie, on here. Do you have long enough hair to make the style work? So all of these things, right? You need to think about what makes someone qualified. Now, I would say beyond that, I would want to share that with everybody on my team. Like, I would want to tell them, hey, these are the characteristics that makes someone qualified. Some of you might only work with professional athletes, and then you have somebody calling in saying, hey, I heard you work with athletes. And you're like, right, but professional athletes. Or I heard you work with golfers. And you might say like, yes, but high level golfers or youth golfers, and not just all golfers. Some of you work with demographics. Hey, I saw your work that you're doing with these kids. I think that's great. Can you help me? And you're like, well, but you're an adult. And so you need to ask yourself, all right, so what are the things that make someone qualified? Next step in that process is to eliminate friction to transaction. I think this is absolutely vital in today's world. Now, the pandemic really accelerated this. I feel like we were kind of on that train and we were moving towards that. But now you have things like Yelp and Google My Business, Google reviews, and even just, search engines themselves, where I actually, as a prospect, I do have access to an awful lot of information. And I think that a lot of us really underestimate the amount of information that is available to a prospect. And we live in an age where people are vetting. And whether or not you might say, oh, no, they're not doing that. Well, maybe they're not doing extensive internet research, but they at least are talking to friends, or they're looking at your social media and they're reading the comments and looking at the engagement. They need clues that you are the right person for them to be reaching out to. And so you underestimate that. They think when they make the reach out and then you qualify with, why do you ask? And they say, because I'm asking for myself. They think that, well, in their mind, they've already qualified themselves. But here's what they don't want. And I think this is really a death blow, is if you bring someone in that is not qualified, and because they are not qualified, they end up not engaging in your services, then they oftentimes read that as a giant negative. I've seen this over and over and over, where I've seen Yelp reviews where people are like, I went over there, I saw so-and-so, it was a big rigmarole, and they wanted me to sign up for 90 million years of the service, and I had to pay it all up front and all of these things. And when I read these things that they're upset about, oftentimes I'll ask the client, because the client gets really upset, they're hurt. Like, somebody said bad things about me on the internet. Well, first of all, I mean, get over it. People are going to say bad things about you on the internet. But I will often ask them, is what they're saying true? And they're like, well, yeah, it is true. I mean, and oftentimes what's crazy is people leave negative reviews that are filled with truth. Right? It's like, I took my car down to the Ferrari dealership for an oil change, and these fools told me it was $1,000. And then you ask them, like, is that much it costs? Or is it like, did they misunderstand? They're like, no, it is $1,000. And you're like, well, why are they so upset? And the people are like, I don't know. I don't know why they're so upset. And I'm telling you today, the reason why they're so upset is because you didn't pre-qualify them. You didn't have a conversation with them. And because of that, they viewed you as a shyster. They viewed you as a scam artist. So I'm telling you, it's actually a good business practice in today's world to actually install pre-qualification techniques inside of your onboarding or sales process, because you want them to know that they're in the right place, that you can help them. How much is it going to cost? And geographical proximity. Do I have to drive there once, 58 times? I was at had a little fender bender in the Boxster the other day, and I called the dealership, and they're like, don't bring the car here, dude. You got to go to this specific body shop that takes care of our cars. I was like, all right. So I'm down there, and the guy was like, hey man, so going to be a little bit, we had a hurricane here in Florida, and so the hurricane damaged tons of cars. So there's a big backlog of cars that are trying to get repaired in the body shop. He says, it's been a little bit. He goes, and man, we're just known. We're known in the industry. In fact, a guy crashed his car at a racetrack, his Porsche, crashed his Porsche on a racetrack in Texas, put it on a trailer and had it brought to us. Well, the geographical proximity is just move the car from Texas to Florida and then leave it there. You don't have to keep taking it back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. But if you did, well, then you should express that to the individual before they trailered the car. So imagine the car gets trailered and brought to Florida, and they're like, all right, so what we can do is we can like fix the door. And then you take it home, and then you bring it back in 2 weeks, and we can fix the bumper. And then you take it home, and they would be like, well, why didn't anybody tell me this? And what that would do is it would make the person very upset. They would probably leave a negative review. So we want to eliminate friction to transaction through the pre-qualification process. And I think if you actually tell the prospect, look, if you don't mind, I would like to just take just 5 minutes to just hear a little bit about what's going on and make sure that I'm the best fit. And if I am the best fit, I would like to explain to you what I would be recommending. Now, again, I realize we live in this world where so many people are like anti-recommendation, mostly in the healthcare space. Like, we can't tell them. I'm a biohacking nut, and Dr. Steve Janopoulos, who I highly recommend, he was like, hey, let's get some of these tests done. I go and we get blood drawn and do all kind of wacky stuff. And my assistant Megan sets it up. I think tomorrow, I'm not sure what I'm doing. I'm doing some calcium scores or something. And when you call in medicine, when you call and say, "Hey, I'm trying to do this calcium scoring. Um, can I get set up for an appointment?" They pre-qualify. They're like, "Listen, first of all, we don't accept any third-party payers." Hint, hint to all you practitioners. Okay, well, so it's just all we take is out of pocket. You got to pay, direct pay. Okay, and it's going to cost you $350. I don't know what it is. So if you're like, "Dude, it's not what your calcium score is." First of all, I don't even know if it's a calcium score. I don't know what that stuff is. I just go, they poke me with needles, they poke and prod me. Then they tell cool stuff to the docs, and then the docs tell me, peptides or little supplements and things that I eat. But here's what I've noticed is that they tell you in advance. Not only that, they tell you how it's going to work. Listen, Shawn, your pre-exam prep is this, then you're going to come in and we're going to do this, and then this is how much you're going to pay. Well, that's basically what the pre-qualification would look like in any area. Let's say I called Lonnie and I was like, "Hey, I'm looking for a new stylist. I'd like to come in." Well, before we get started here, let me ask you a few questions if you don't mind, just to make sure that you're going to be a great fit here in my salon, make sure that I'm going to be able to deliver on whatever it is you are looking to do. And I'll give you an idea of kind of how it works. In fact, I just saw recently that Lonnie was talking about moving to more of maybe a membership, a monthly recurring model, which I strongly endorse. I've said that to the people that style my hair a million times. I was like, what you should do? You should just charge me a monthly fee and let me have like priority access to appointments. And because I already know I'm coming twice a month. And so just figure out what it is and just charge my card on a monthly basis. But here's what would be great is because I'm doing that. I even told them you could charge me a little more, but because I'm doing that, give me some, exclusivity on my appointments. I don't want to book out, so far because these guys are good. And so they're always booked out. Lonnie's good. She's always booked out. So, that's one way that Lonnie could reduce the traffic on the appointment book is by charging people more for a monthly membership, but telling them a lot of people are going to drop. Lonnie would actually make the same amount of money, probably more, and have even less clients, but the clients would feel exclusive. But she would have to tell people. So the new client calls and they're like, "Hey, listen, I want a new stylist." Lonnie would say, "Okay, well, what are you trying to do?" I know from talking to my stylist, he loves females that have really dark hair that are older because then the roots grow out and they have to keep recurring over and over and over and over for color. And this would be another great place where you could put in look, you're doing color every X amount of time. Let's just put you on my monthly color club and you'll have it all covered and you'll get exclusivity. It's a little bit more than if you parted it out. But the problem with that parting it out is you might not be able to get in. Now, ultimately, Lonnie, what you might end up doing is just telling people, "I only take people who are doing the club." But I would say, "So what do you want to do?" And they're like, "Well, I have dark hair. So I get my hair colored every 4 weeks, once a month. And then, probably, I don't know what I'm talking about. You guys know that. But when I'm talking about other people's business, and I get my hair cut every 2 months. I don't even know if that's possible. I would never get my hair cut every 2 months, but I don't know, maybe it's a girl with long hair." So you would say, "Great. So here's how it works." We could totally do that. Let me tell you about our process. So this is your chance to build value. Let me tell you what we do. We only use organic color and we use super special colorings that are made from blackberries that are shipped in from Egypt. And then it's a two-step process where we have special machinery and all of these gizmos, and it's fantastic. And what that does is it protects your hair because you don't want your hair breaking and falling apart. And so we're very particular about this. But what I do want you to know is that currently I'm not accepting any new clients unless they are a part of my VIP club. And what that means is, in your case, what you just detailed to me. So this is why that's important. And I'll walk you through that process in a second. But what you just detailed to me, I'm going to have to be putting you on one color a month plus a haircut every other month. So that's going to be a $300 per month charge. And then what that does is it just rolls. That will get you one color every month, and every other time you'll get your haircut and a color. And what you get is priority access to my appointment book. What you'll notice is that most salons, you have to book way out in advance. But because I operate on this model, I only ever am managing 25 clients at a time. And so there's always space in my book. And I think if you do the math, I don't know if you could do that, but I mean, if I'm getting $300 a month times my 25 clients, you adjust from there and you make it all work out for you. Maybe Lonnie probably has way more than 25 clients. That doesn't even make sense. She's got a gazillion clients. But that's what that conversation will look like. So number one, why do you ask? Number two, I want you to write down a list of all the things that make somebody qualified. Number three, when somebody says, I'm asking for me, you're going to say, would it be okay if I just took a few minutes to make sure that I'm the best fit and to explain to you the process? Number four, because I said the qualifications were that they had a problem that you could help, we're going to begin there. And we're going to say, so let me begin by asking you what's going on? What is the issue? What are you trying to solve? And you let them talk. Here's the thing, too, where people get super tripped up about this. You guys are all experts. You know what you're doing. Somebody could talk to me and I would say, tell me about your business. If you want me to coach you, tell me a little bit about it. And, they're either going to say like, dude, we're at 7 figures and we kind of plateaued and we're trying to go to 3 million from our 1 million. Or they're going to say something like, I'm just getting started. And I would real quickly know whether or not they're qualified, right? Whether or not they're financially able to work with me. In other businesses, I'm going to ask what's going on. Like, well, the tire, the tire light keeps coming on. It says the tires are deflated. Nate sent me this Rolls Royce that they're selling, super sweet Rolls Royce. But in the ad, it was like the tire pressure light is on. I'm like, why didn't they just put more air in the tire before they put the ad up? It didn't make any sense. But if I'm telling the transmission dude at Mako Transmission that the tire pressure light's coming on, he'd be like, oh, dude, I can save you a trip from coming down here. That's not what we do, because you're not a good fit. You are not qualified. You don't have a problem that I could solve. But then on the backside of that, you guys are skilled enough. You've seen enough. You've seen it all. You've seen, the garden variety thing that you fixed. You've seen the challenges, and you've seen the ones that you're like, piece of cake. So listening to somebody, I know that a lot of people are like, well, I could never figure this out on the phone. Like, well, yeah, but listening to somebody, you can get an idea of what it is that they're looking to do. Let's use that Lonnie case. Maybe somebody comes in and they're like, I have dark hair and I just need to get it colored. But they have dark hair because their hair was originally blonde and then they changed it to pink and now it's black. And then you're like, wait a minute, your hair is actually like, and so maybe we missed the mark, but we still have the opportunity to say, listen, you confused me when we spoke, or I didn't have all of the data. And so I'm going to amend my recommendations. You can't come and color just once a month and a haircut every other month. You're going to have to do this other plan. Or maybe there's something we need to do before I could put you on that plan. So I'm going to discover what it is that's going on with them. And then I'm going to make realistic recommendations. I'm going to say, hey, listen, based off what you're telling me, I think that this is kind of what we're looking at. I'm going to explain to them how it works financially, not the mechanics of what you do, right? I'm just going to explain to them how it works. You're going to come in once a month. We're going to do this, and we're going to get it, and we're going to get the result that you want, and that's going to cost you this. Now, I've eliminated all of the friction to transaction, and I've completely qualified the person as far as, do they have an issue that I can solve? And I've completely qualified them as far as financials are concerned. And then I'm going to tell them, for some of you that have to have frequent interaction with your clients, I'm going to tell them. And then what we're going to do is we're going to do this every month for a year. My VIP club is a year-long process. And so now they know this is a time commitment and a geographical commitment. And then I'm going to say, so would you like to look at scheduling an appointment? Would you like to look at coming in? Would you like to look at engaging with us? And so it's just that simple, because if they say yes, it's done. I mean, we've killed all of these funny song and dance rigmarole, because now when the client comes in, if it was at the transmission shop, I'm going to take the car back. I'm going to throw it up. I'm going to take a look at it. I'm going to come out to the front. I'm going to be like, yep, Pat, just as I thought. When you were describing an issue on the phone, I thought that the transmission might have been totally shot. We got to replace it. Unfortunately, that's the case. We're looking at $3,500 to get it done, like I told you. And so Pat came to the transmission place thinking my transmission's probably shot, because he's self-diagnosed, right? This is the best place for me to take my car. Then when I spoke to them, so look, even if you have a transmission shop, you want to pre-qualify, because when I spoke to them, they told me that it was probably going to be $3,500. I brought the car, the mechanic went in the back, they came back out front, and they're like, yeah, that's what it is. And here's the kicker. Guess what I have in my pocket? My credit card, or even $3,500 cash, because I was ready to go. That's the whole sales process. Now, of course, there's the meticulous ins and outs of that, which we're going to be dropping at BDC Sales Matters. But that's what that pre-qualification does. Telling you, it'll save you gobs of time, eons and eons of time. It will save you tons of work. How many times are you doing some sort of an initial consultation or engagement with a client that's not even qualified to be there? So it's going to save you time. It's going to save you work. It's going to improve your reputation because people are going to say, you know what, I appreciate you jumping on the phone and talking to me. Even if I wasn't qualified, you were able to reveal that to me without me having to put my winter coat on and drive down to your office only to find out that I had wasted an hour of my time and I didn't know you charged $10,000. I don't even have that kind of money. And so all of those things are going to help you to be better. As a result, you're going to have more time on your appointment book because your appointment book is going to start to fill with qualified people, which means you're going to see more people who you were meant to serve. That means you're going to make an even bigger impact because you're working with the right people. And that means you're going to make even more money because the people coming in understand what the prices are. I've always thought this too. Like if you call Best Buy tomorrow and you're like, hey guys, I'm looking for the new iPhone, looking for like the big screen one. Do you guys have that? And they're like, yeah, sure, we do. And you're like, well, how much does it cost? Imagine that they were like, well, it depends. Because it does depend. It does. It depends how much memory you want on it. It depends on a lot of factors, but they do a qualification process naturally in the retail product world. And I'm just inviting you tonight to adopt the same process in the service-based businesses that you guys run. It's no different. People just want to know, can you help me? How much is this going to cost? What am I looking at? Am I a good candidate to work with you? And if I'm not, be compassionate and find them somebody that can work with them. So even in the pre-qual process, I might find out that they're not qualified financially, or maybe they have a problem that I can't solve, but I know people who could solve it. Or maybe that they live in Omaha and I'm in Atlanta, Georgia. I would tell them, look, you want me to find you somebody in Omaha that can take care of this? So you still serve as a positive voice in that person's life. You make an impact by getting them set up with the right people. And first and foremost, you're not wasting anybody's time. All right, folks, I told you 30 minutes. Love seeing you guys rocking and rolling and blowing up the chat. Thanks for being here. Pat, let's get us a winner tonight.
Let's go.
I got $300 and it's burning a hole in my pocket. I need you to pull out the 3 names. Try and announce them properly. Like last week, Tristan said, "Scurbler, scubbler," and then it just hell broke loose. And
I think I heard a Hinkle McCrinkleberry in there somewhere last week.
Hinkle McCrinkleberry was there. He was doing the Hinkle McCrinkleberry.
All right, kids.
Roll it up. Roll it up. Hey guys, I'm headed out. I see Johnny Stephenson here. I don't know. They just clued me in. I'm heading out next weekend to work. I'm doing a full discovery day with the Colorado Chiropractic Association. This is something that Lacey or I can do, where we can come to your business and we can work with you for one full day, break down what's going on, and then rebuild with you. It's a very intensive type process that we do where we work through that. And then, we'd love to do that with you, your association, your group, any of that. And also, I don't know if we have a slide, Pat, but I'm doing a very special webinar for anybody who's interested in becoming a BDC certified coach. I got to tell you, we realized that so many of our clients were seeing such great success that we wanted to develop a program where we could certify people so that you could help other people. Everybody that has great success, people are asking you like, hey man, how are you getting this success? How are you doing this? And, some people have kind of been like, providing some advice, but I got to tell you, our system is fantastic. Lacey and I have used this system to build our personal coaching business. We have IPO, and then you have Lacey and I's private coaches. And our coaching business does well over 7 figures, just the coaching alone. I'm not talking about Quest 7. I'm not talking about Black Diamond Club. I'm talking about our private coaches. We've managed to build that over to 7 figures, and we're going to be teaching our certified coaches how to do this. And listen, if you've seen our track record, we're moving away from our BDC coaches, our in-house coaches, and we're going to just certify you guys. I think you guys will have an even bigger reach. You'll be able to reach more people. But listen, even with our track record, we've seen people that started with us relatively unknown have gone on to build their own coaching businesses. And listen, That's because of the system. This system works, and we want to put the system at scale. We're not going to hold it just for a select handful of our hand-picked BDC coaches. We're going to unleash you guys on the world. We're going to teach you how to coach, what we do, how we communicate, and how we diagnose the issues, and how we fill in the problems, because every single person is different. And more importantly, we're going to teach you how to build your own coaching business. You got to get registered for that webinar. That is coming up next Monday. I'm going to be breaking down. It'll be a quick one. It's not, you don't need any popcorn. It'll be quick. I'm going to break down why we're doing it. I'm going to break down what the opportunity is, how we're doing it. And then I'm going to open it up for 25 people, 25 people only. We're going to take through this initial program. We're super pumped about launching the BDC certified coaches. All right, everybody. What do we got going on, Pat? You got 3 names in your hand?
All right, kids.
You got the timer. You got the music. Don't be playing that. Last time Tristan was playing that licensed music. Don't get me in trouble.
Fair enough.
Ooh, everybody's pumped. Everybody's pumped. Let's go.
Ready. I can feel.
I mean, by my calculations, everybody's got at least a 1 in 7 chance of winning.
Fair enough. Yeah, 103 on. All right, kids. First up, Craig Wing.
Craig Wing, baby.
Craig Wing.
Craig, I'm going to give you about 5 seconds past when the clock hit 0, because Pat kicked it off and then said Craig. Craig Wing, show yourself. Show yourself.
Chicken Wing.
Craig Chicken Wing. Let's go. You have won $300, my friend. All you got to do is show up. And then when it hits 0, let's count it down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Where's the pom pom pom?
Craig.
All right.
That's all right.
We got 2 more. We got 2 more shots at it.
I got 2 more.
That's bad news for Craig. That's good news for all of y'all watching. I got $300. It's burning a hole in my pocket. I want to give away some money tonight, Patrick.
I know this name, but we'll see. There's a little twist on this one.
A little twisty. Say the name and then hit the timer.
All right. Name is Ross McDonald.
Oh,
Ross
boy.
McDonald. It's like, what time is it over there? Like 4 in the morning?
Man, it's got to be like 2
4 a.m., 3 a.m.
Ross McDonald land. Ross McDonald, the king of Scotland and the Scotland Chiropractic College. I saw my great friend and president of Sherman College on. Hey, Ross McDonald, you got $300 coming to you if you're not sleeping. Hey,
Scotland is sleeping.
Fair is fair. I mean, fair is fair. But we got Australians. We've got people in Singapore. I mean, what are we going to do? Your name gets drawn. Your name gets drawn. All right, Ross.
Can't do this at lunchtime. This is a prime time spot. We got to do this.
Prime time show. That's right. All right. One more name, everybody. Everybody, one more name. Who's ready to win $300? Let's go. $300 on the hook.
Last one. I'm going to do better than Twisty would possibly on this one, but
all right.
Alexandra Vucinovic.
Alexandra. He's on. Alexandra. It was so great to see Alexandra win. Alex Vucinovic. Come on, Alex. You got $300 coming your way. Oh boy. She could be on.
For 3.
She could be on. She's a BDC diehard. She shows up at things. She does
This is tax-free cheddar right here.
Come on. Free cheddar. Free cheddar cheese.
You usually got to hit a 3-teamer to get this kind of money.
Come on, Alex. Yeah, you got to hit a 3-teamer. You got to hit a 3-team parlay to get $300.
Shank's been hot lately, kids. Oh, man.
That's a bummer.
Sad day at the office.
That is a bummer. All right, everybody. Man. Well, we had 3 winners, but we had nobody claim the prize. Because they're not losers. They just didn't claim the prize. So we didn't have any claimants. So we're going to roll it up. I'm going to throw another $100 in next week. Lacey's going to be here live with you. She's going to be giving away $400. She's going to be drawing 4 names. You've got to make sure that you set an alarm. You're going to want to be here. Lacey's going to be dropping pure gold. don't have a lot of chance to get Lacey solo on the show. And so be ready, folks, because she's going to be dropping pure gold next Wednesday. And then the following Wednesday, I'm back and I'm bringing Michael Chandler. Michael Chandler and I breaking it down on BDC Live. You don't want to miss that. We're going to be talking about all things entrepreneurship. How do you start up a business? I mean, and Michael's doing it. So we're going to be talking about real life. What is he doing to start his business? He's got a new podcast. He's got a new fitness app. He's got all kinds of things coming out. He's got all kinds of sponsorships. We're going to talk about relationships. Do not go to sleep on BDC Live, folks. Tell your friends. All right. See ya.